What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Tasker's Barbecue Supply. Today we have a very special video for you. We're going to be cutting into our dry-aged New York strip loin. Now, before we get started, remember, if you haven't liked and subscribed on these videos yet, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can help us keep our subscriber count growing. Now, let's get rolling into the video. Alright everyone, what we have here is a full New York strip loin that we put in an umai dry bag to dry age. Now it started out at 14.3 pounds and we put this in on 7/8 of 20. This has been in for about 45 days, which gives me the perfect time frame that I feel. I think anything over 45 to 50 days is a little overkill for my taste. I've done some 90, 100-day dry ages, and they're not bad, but I don't see a huge benefit of the 90-day over like a 45-day for my tastes. Now obviously if it's a lot larger chunk of meat, you have a great big ribeye loin that has a lot of thickness to it, yeah, going that little extra time may help you, but especially like a strip loin, it's not really necessary. Now you can see my umai dry bag has a lot of play to it. That's fine. That is normal. It's not like a vacuum bag where it's going to suck down tight. So that's normal if you're doing umai dry bags. I didn't get the first part of this process on video because I already have a video on how to use these umai dry bags to set up for dry aging. So I will link that right here. That way, if you guys want to watch that process on how to set up this dry aging process, you can. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and cut it out of the bag and get it cut up into some steaks, and we're going to throw them on the pellet grill and grill a few of them up tonight. So let's go ahead and open this bag up. And what you'll notice is, especially when we first start to open this, you've got a nice color to it for a dry age. So there's no mold growing on it anywhere. The little white patches you see here is just fat is all that is. So that's not mold or anything. So you'll see on the bottom we have a very, very nice bark. It's nice and dark black. You know, again, we don't have any mold or anything like that. Again, all the little white specks you're seeing everywhere is just part of the fat and stuff that was sealed in the bag. It's just coming off and it's just melting. It's just fat. So we don't have any mold. Nice dark black exterior on it. The smell is a real nice, almost like a natural beef jerky and nutty type of scent to it, so that's good. Obviously, if you open up a dry aged bag and it smells pungent, you've probably got some issues. It should not smell bad. So it smells amazing. It looks really good. So basically at this point here, all we're going to do is start getting this cut into some steaks. So I'm going to start cutting across here and get this cut into some steaks, and then we'll do some trim work on it. But that's pretty well all we're going to have to do now is just cut this into a few steaks and do a little trim work. So let me start cutting it up into steaks. We'll be right back. All right, everyone, we got that whole strip loin all cut up. We got 16 beautiful steaks out of it. That's what's nice about doing a whole strip loin or a whole ribeye roast, is you get a lot of steaks out of it. And the steaks in the middle, as you can see, are beautifully dry aged. You still have that nice red interior with just a very little, just a little bit of black on the edges here, and we'll show you how to trim that up now. It's very easy. And that's why you leave the whole fat cap on too. That fat cap protects a lot of the meat. We cut them everywhere between about an inch to inch and a half, roughly in that ballpark. I don't get real particular on being exact, but roughly between inch and a half is what we cut all the steaks to. We've got 2 of them here. I'll show you how to trim these up real easily. Basically, all you're gonna do, especially on a strip loin, is we're just gonna take the outer edge of this fat cap off on the top here, and I'll still leave a little bit of it. Obviously, you want some of the fat to add some flavor. Cut this little tail piece of fat off here. And then basically all we're gonna do is we're just gonna take a little thin strip off the bottom. As you can see, that's all the more we take off the bottom. Just a thin little strip to take all the black off of the bottom of this steak, and it is good to go after that. Take that little piece off the front here. And that's it. Simple as that, it's ready to go. You can see we've got all the black off and our steak is ready to go. So let's trim up our other one here. Same thing, we'll just take this little cap off the back. Just trim that fat off there. And simple as that, we're nice and done with that steak there. As you can see, all of the dark meat is taken off, and you're just left with this nice dark red interior. It's got such a beautiful texture to it. It's nice and soft. Smells amazing. It has that nice nutty smell to it, which is exactly what you expect with dry age. So it is perfectly ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and season these 2 up here. All we're gonna be using is some Killer Hogs AP rub, because it's your simple salt, pepper, and garlic. I don't like to go overboard on my dry aged steaks because I think you just take away from the natural flavor of it. While the grill's warming up, I'm gonna get these seasoned and I'll cut the rest of these steaks up. We will freeze dry these steaks here. And then, you know, bring them out whenever we want. But I go ahead and trim them up now. That way it's just a lot simpler whenever we get to thaw them out, cook them, they're already pre-trimmed. Now, a lot of times what we'll do with the trimmings here is we will save a good bit of it. Not all of the fat I save, the very, very exterior I go ahead and pitch, but I trim some of this stuff that's still kind of good off the inside here, and I save most of the meat. And we just throw it in a, you know, a freeze pack as well. And you can save this and throw it in with ground meat. It is still safe to eat. It just doesn't have a great texture or flavor to it as a steak. But if you grind this in with some other beef and, you know, mix it 20-80, you know, I even go sometimes 30-70. I don't usually like to go much more than that. But mix it in with regular ground beef, it has an awesome flavor to it. So it's not going to go to waste. Now, if you don't do that kind of stuff, you know, find somebody who does if you don't want to let the meat go to waste. Find somebody who will grind it up for you or grind it up and use it for themselves. You can use it as stew meat, all kinds of different stuff. But that's pretty well it. I'm going to go get the RecTeq Bull warmed up right now, get these seasoned up, and trim the rest of our steaks up. We'll meet you outside here in just a few. All right, guys, we're out at our RecTeq Bull 700, and I've got it warmed up to 350 degrees. Now, as most of you know, if you've watched the channel, I usually don't do my steaks that hot on my RecTeq, but with these being dry aged, I don't feel that doing a low and slow and then a reverse sear method is the best way, because I feel like too much smoke kind of overrides that natural dry age flavor that you work so hard to get. So when I do dry age steaks, I just do them pretty quick and hot. So run a 350, we're going to throw them on there, run them to a medium rare temperature. Now the next video we do, we'll take a couple more of these dry age steaks and we'll throw those on our Napoleon 665 Pro on the sear station, get a real fast, rapid sear on that with that sizzle box, and see if we can't get that nice, cool, rare center in there and see how that does. But for tonight, we're just gonna go ahead and throw them on our bull here. So we're just gonna slap each of these right here in the center, and you can hear that sizzle hit. So those grates are nice and hot. That's what we want. We want a real nice piping hot grate on there. We're just gonna let those go for just a couple minutes on that side, and we're gonna flip them, and we're gonna flip them to a new spot on the grate so that it hits a nice hot grate again. Sear up both sides of it, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes. All right, everyone, we're back. It's only taken about 3 minutes per side. They have some nice sear marks on them. These steaks are ready to go. They're right at about that rare temperature, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull them off. I'm gonna take them inside and let them rest for about 5 or 10 minutes. They'll probably come around to that right between rare, medium rare temperature that we like. And then we'll cut one of these open so you can see what it looks like on the inside, and we'll do a little taste test. So let's go ahead and pull these off the grill. And as you can see, we have some nice sear marks on there. These steaks look perfect. So let's go ahead and pull them both off. We'll shut our grill down, and we'll meet you inside. All right, everyone, we made it back inside. We let these steaks rest for about 5 or 10 minutes. That way they can just kind of finish cooking through, bring us up to that nice, beautiful medium rare temperature. These steaks took an amazing color to them. They have a nice sear mark in them for being on a pellet grill. Now I could have turned the temperature up 450 degrees on that RecTeq and really seared them, but I don't really generally like to go that high. On my pellet grill, I usually just try to keep it 400 and under. If I really want a heavy sear, I just throw it on my Napoleon. But tonight I just wanted to throw them on the RecTeq about 350 degrees, get a little bit of that smoky flavor to them, but not overbearing, and get a nice quick sear on them. They smell absolutely amazing. They're super juicy. I mean, there's juices running out of it. It's all over the cutting board here. So a lot of people think that, when you dry age a steak, it has no, juices left in it. That's not true. They're still very juicy, but they're so much more tender that the juiciness is kind of a side factor. On fresh steaks, you want that real nice, juicy bite through, and that's what makes you feel like they're tender. A dry aged steak's completely different. Just the texture of the meat and how soft the meat fibers actually are is unreal. The flavors are amazing. It's definitely worth the process. If you've never tried one, I suggest at least trying a dried steak somewhere. If you want to try doing it yourself, it's super simple as long as you have a vacuum sealer and a spare refrigerator. Like I said, watch our tutorial video on it. Super easy to do. But let's go ahead and cut this steak open. So I'm just going to cut it right in half here. You can see we have a nice medium rare texture. Now, obviously, a dried steak has a little bit different color to it than a standard steak will, and especially a lot of when you do it on pellet grills, they have a little bit of a different color. But I can tell you from the temperature that this is a perfect medium rare. It has nice, it's just real nice grade just on that top edge all the way around there from searing it on that RecTeq. So let's cut a couple bites of it off here. As you can see, it just pulls apart. I don't even have to cut it. Let's take a taste test. That is awesome flavor. It's so deep and rich flavor. It's just more literally beefy than what you normally get out of a steak. I know that sounds weird, but when you taste a dry age versus a normal steak, you feel more of that beef flavor coming out in it. As you can see, it's so tender I can barely even cut it. It just kind of falls apart. The outer edge has a little hardness to it, but that's, you know, that's kind of one of those things where I could trim it back a little bit more and get rid of that. But I usually just like to get the black outer, like, really hard layer off. So that's not a big deal. But the inner layer, I mean, just super butter tender. I mean, that's so tender. Such a beautiful flavor. The AP seasoning went perfect on this. It just gave it that nice little balance of salt and pepper and garlic without being overbearing or anything or taking away from the flavors of the beef. So this was a perfect cook here. These dried steaks turned out amazing. We're going to go ahead and finish eating these tonight, and we will see you back on the next video. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. You know, remember to hit that thumbs up button. If you have any comments, any questions, anything like that, please drop them below. We'll answer them as soon as we can. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you back next time.